Hi. A good summer day. I'm having a rest from my paranormal activities and from creativity too. I think it's actually not so important. The most important things in life are love, family, friendships. I had some conflict with transcommunication communities. They blocked me everywhere, and it's mostly because they don't value my research, but they do actually not scientific tasks. Another thing is that EVPs can be dangerous for health. They can cause voices in the head, and it's also infrasound. It can be dangerous. I just got disagreement with these communities, and I was blocked into communication communities. I don't stand for promoting EVPs openly. I think it should be done as laboratory research, not for general public. But in Russia they promote it too openly. I think it should be for scientists, for laboratories. As to water reflection method, water scrying, I think it is less dangerous as to my experiments and to experience of my acquaintances. But it's actually underexplored. My research is mostly aimed for scientists, not for general public. But I just have to promote my research somehow because I want it to be known to scientists. So I talk about it in my blog. But I don't talk about EVPs. Well, I talked about EVPs in 2018 when I was only getting into that sphere. But for half a year I did it, and it was bad for my mental health. I got voices in the head. I got some threats from ghosts and also poltergeist in my room. So I stopped doing it. I also got some kind of addiction with EVPs. I used to be making it for hours. So 3 years since I gave up this activity, and I am glad that I gave it up. I don't know what is the future of water scrying. Will it be ever researched by scientists or not? Right now I see the lack of professionalism in transcommunication sphere, and there are no people who could research it in a good scientific way. And I do it amateurish, but my research at least has some results, and quite material results, and it can be studied better. But my research also can be studied, and the data I obtained can be checked. So, you see, there's beautiful nature, and I'm actually feeling quite well. And I think I will be giving up transcommunication sphere. I actually did everything I could in this sphere, and if there is no scientific research, real scientific research, then there's no use in my work if it doesn't get researched properly. And I actually feel fatigued from making water pics. It's also some kind of a lack of energy. Maybe it's connected to psi and psi energy. And I think I will be giving up this activity at all. Another point is that EVPs can cause some kind of isolation from reality as people learn to live in communicate in other worlds, but it actually can lead to depression and some depressive thoughts. Another thing is that EVPs are actually not a checked way to communicate the afterworld. It's not known who we're communicating to when we use EVPs. It's actually maybe some lower spirits and not our deceased loved ones. So it's actually rather not a very explored activity, and we may never know who is communicating to us through EVPs. It all led me to conclusion that I have to give up this sphere and not try more. I actually did everything I could to provide scientists with data if they want to explore such activities. But words in water are actually some kind of an activity that stands out from communication and is not accepted by everyone, though it's rather a distinct activity. something new, and it actually appeared maybe in 2017, and I am actually maybe the only person in the world who explores it, and we don't know what will be in future with this activity, what's in water, symbol scrying. I can't predict. If it gets explored by scientists, then they may find some more information about it. As I mentioned, people in transcommunication sphere don't want to help me with my work, and they actually ignore me, and they have some type of maybe cultic thinking, as they just follow the leaders, and they don't care if my research is right or wrong. They just see that the leaders don't appreciate me, and so they don't see my research valid. But it's actually not known if my research is valid or not. Well, I can say with some certainty, but it's not 100% sureness. I regret I spent so much time in transcommunication communities that they actually don't follow scientific method. Many things used there are not scientific at all, just maybe even not so much spiritual, just very pseudoscience. So I've decided I will be through with this sphere, and with the members of it. I actually found no much support among them. They only cared if I do bases in water, and they cared for nothing else. They didn't care for scientific research. So, well, I can say I'm just glad I've decided to give up this sphere. And if some scientists find my research useful, then it will be good. And actually, whether water can be studied even by materialists, by atheistic scientists. It doesn't matter if they believe in the afterworld or not, they just can explore what's in water as a phenomenon. Another point, they took my material to one transcommunication community, VK group, and it was with my consent, but later they blocked me in that group, and I can't edit that material or can't delete it, but they just actually use my material for spreading their own VK group. And the last point is actually some kind of a mind control. And actually such people sometimes understand that my research is valuable, and they actually keep my research in their group, but they think that they have one leader, and they actually told me that I have to start another fan group, so they see their spiritual group. They don't see it as scientific organization, they see it some fun group, I think as fun club. It's not a scientific approach. It's very hard to move on after 4 years of being in this spiritual group. And I know that there are some transcommunication communities around the world, and I actually wrote to several of them, but they also didn't reply to me either. And I don't know if the situation is similar in those groups, but you see, I don't consider EVPs as talking to the dead. I think it can be some lower spirits, it can be anyone, it can be our subconsciousness by EVPs that we are talking to ourselves. And I actually checked this hypothesis, and it's rather likely. I can't deny that some information is passed by EVPs that can be proved, can be checked, and we had 2 experiments with this. It actually works sometimes, but it doesn't mean that there are some good spirits. In my experience with EVPs, it was mostly negative experience. Voices in the head, threats from spirits, mental hospitalization to mental hospital, and poltergeist, obsession with EVPs. I was making it for 2 hours a day. So it was very unhealthy, and it interrupted my life. It was a bad influence to me. Scrying, I see it as a more harmless activity, but still it's underexplored. And for instance, if it is just casual random water splashes, it's one thing, but if it is really telekinesis, as I think, it's just another thing, and it indeed can influence one's health. It should be studied in laboratories. If I thought that water scrying methods are very harmful, then I wouldn't spread it. But I know that actually there are a few drawbacks of it. Nevertheless, I mostly aim at scientists, and if I don't talk about it in my blog, then no one would talk about it, and it will be just forgotten. So I post my research in my blog so that some scientists make sense of my data. All I basically wanted to say about my relationship with transcommunication circles. So as you see, I've got no relationships to them now. They all blocked me, most of them. And I think actually there is not much interest in atheistic circles to my research, but I hope that some scientists get interested. Actually, there is some interest from some scientists in the world, but it's little interest. I just hope that there will be some clarification of my scrying material and my methods. So this is all I wanted to say today. Thanks for watching. Bye.